Formula One has produced legends: Senna, Schumacher, Proust. It's also produced absolute disasters. Drivers who crashed their way through careers, punched marshals, assaulted partners, all got banned for being too dangerous to race. So who actually has the worst reputation in F1 history? Jos Verstappen raced in F1 from 1994 to 2003. Benetton, Simtek, Minardi. He bounced around. They called him Jos the Boss. These days he's better known as Max Verstappen's father. 2 third-place finishes in 1994. That was the peak. His off-track behaviour made more headlines than his driving ever did. May 1998. Jos and his father got into a fight with a 45-year-old man at a karting track in Belgium. The argument was over track access. Nothing complicated. The victim ended up with a fractured skull. A Belgian court found them guilty 2 years later. The punishment? Suspended sentences after they paid the guy off. Basically nothing. The pattern continued. In 2008, a court convicted him of assaulting his ex-wife Sophie, Max's mother, threatening texts, ignored a restraining order. The punishment? A fine and another suspended sentence. Again, basically nothing. Things got uglier in 2011. He allegedly assaulted his girlfriend in a hotel room in Venlo. Jos denied it, claimed they just had a discussion. Like, that explains the bruises. Then January 2012. After an argument with ex-girlfriend Kelly van der Waal, he reportedly tried to run her over with his car. She escaped with heavy bruising. The charges? Attempted murder. He spent 2 weeks in jail before those charges disappeared. He also trashed her property, because apparently attempting to run her over wasn't enough. All of this happened while he was managing Max's karting career. Max was 14 when his father got locked up, even visited him in jail. Jos inherited his temper from his father Franz. The apple didn't fall far from that tree. 4 world championships for Max and counting. But the man who helped build that career has a rap sheet longer than his podium record. James Hunt won the 1976 World Championship, beat Niki Lauda at the final race in Japan. 10 wins that year, 23 podiums across his career, raw speed, undeniable talent. He was also a complete mess. The guy never raced sober, not once. Cocaine, chain smoking, and enough alcohol to drop most people. That was just breakfast. His pre-race routine involved sex and whatever substances he could get his hands on. The 1970s F1 culture didn't just tolerate this, it celebrated it. Hunt became the poster boy for the Playboy racing driver era. Magazines loved him. Sponsors ate it up. Fans worshipped the rebellious image. Behind the glamour, the man was falling apart. He punched marshals. At Monaco 1975, he attacked an official after a crash. Did it again at the 1977 Canadian Grand Prix. Swung at a marshal who tried to move him off the track. Mario Andretti called his defending at Zandvoort that same year seriously dangerous. Once outran police to avoid a drug search. Got disqualified from the 1976 British Grand Prix for an illegal car switch, though the decision was later reversed amid massive controversy. His marriage to Susie Miller collapsed in 1978. The lifestyle was a major factor. The drinking and cocaine use didn't slow down. If anything, retirement in 1979 made it worse. Without racing, all that pressure had nowhere to go except into more substances. Then the money ran out. Hunt burned through cash like it was worthless. Lavish spending, terrible investments. The Lloyds of London disaster wiped him out. By the end, the guy who once lived like royalty was driving around in an Austin A35 van. He died of a heart attack on June 15, 1993. Age 45. Reports said he'd been sober in his final years. Didn't matter. Decades of abuse had already done the damage. The lifestyle that made him a legend eventually killed him. Some people remember Hunt as a charming rogue. Others remember the guy who punched officials, destroyed his body, and died broke. Depends which story you prefer. Nikita Mazepin lasted exactly 1 season in Formula One. 2021. His father Dmitry is a Russian billionaire. Uralkali, the family's fertilizer company, paid for his son's seat. This wasn't speculation. Everyone knew. The problems started before he even raced. December 2020. An Instagram video leaked showing Mazepin groping a woman in the back of a car. The clip went viral. Haas issued a statement calling the behaviour abhorrent. They condemned it publicly. Then they kept him anyway. Fans were furious. The hashtag #WeSayNoToMazepin trended worldwide. Didn't matter. The Uralkali money talked louder. On track, he was a disaster. He spun so often that fans gave him a new name, Mazespin. It stuck. His first race in Bahrain, he spun on lap 1, then kept spinning. Race after race, corner after corner. Consistently last, often lapped multiple times per race, sometimes lapped by his own teammate Mick Schumacher, driving the exact same car. But the spinning wasn't even the worst part. He blocked faster cars constantly. Blue flags mean move over, let the leaders through. Mazepin ignored them like suggestions. Drivers complained on team radio. Stewards handed out warnings. Nothing changed. He crashed into barriers, crashed into rivals, nearly crashed into his own teammate at Baku. Schumacher had to swerve to avoid contact at 200 miles per hour. The team told them to sort it out internally. By March 2022, Russia invaded Ukraine. Haas ripped the Ural Kali logos off the car overnight. Literally overnight. One day Russian colours, next day plain white. 3 days later, Mazepin was fired. His F1 career ended the same way it began. Controversy, money, and zero respect. Some drivers earn their seats, some buy them. Mazepin bought his, then proved exactly why that system doesn't work. 21 races, 0 points, 1 groping video, infinite memes. That's the legacy. UGID got 4 races in Formula 1, 2006, Super Aguri. That's all they gave him before the FIA stepped in. 4 races. Then they took his license away. That almost never happens. F1 hands out penalties, fines, grid drops. They don't revoke super licenses mid-season. ID was that bad, he came from Japanese Formula Nippon. Decent results there. Toyota backed him. Super Aguri needed funding to survive their debut season. The deal made sense on paper. On track, it was chaos. Bahrain, his first race. He qualified last, finished 5 laps down, spun multiple times. The car was slow, sure, but his teammate Takuma Sato was putting it in the midfield. Same machinery. Malaysia was worse. Australia worse again. He couldn't keep the car pointing forward. Corners that other drivers took flat out. Edie approached like they might kill him. They might have. Then came Imola. Christian Albers was trying to lap him. Blue flags waving everywhere. Edie didn't move, didn't slow down. Did the opposite. He turned into Albers at the Villeneuve chicane. The contact launched Albers into the air. The Midland cartwheeled across the gravel. Somehow Albers walked away. The car was destroyed. The FIA had seen enough. 3 days later, they withdrew his super license. The official reason was that he hadn't demonstrated the ability to drive an F1 car safely. The real reason was that someone was going to die if they let him continue. Super Aguri replaced him with Franck Montagny. The team issued a polite statement. Ed went back to Japan. He never returned to F1, never came close. Some drivers are slow, some are dangerous. ID managed to be both at the same time, so comprehensively that the governing body had to intervene. 4 races, 1 revoked license. The only driver in modern F1 history to get banned for being too incompetent to race. That's the record. Adrian Sutil spent 7 seasons in Formula 1, 2007 to 2011 with Force India, then 2013 to 2014 with the same team rebranded and a brief stint at Sauber. 1 podium. Monaco 2008, until a safety car ruined it. Years of midfield anonymity. Decent pace, nothing spectacular. Then he threw it all away in a nightclub. April 2012, Shanghai. A Lotus hospitality event after the Chinese Grand Prix. Sutil was there, so was Eric Lux, a Renault executive and former friend. They argued, nobody knows exactly what about. Money, apparently. Sutil had loaned Lux cash at some point. The loan became a dispute. The dispute became a confrontation. Sutil grabbed a champagne glass and slashed Lux's neck. The wound required 24 stitches. Lux pressed charges. German prosecutors didn't let it slide. January 2012, Sutil went to court in Munich. Found guilty of causing grievous bodily harm. The sentence was an 18-month suspended term and a €200,000 fine. Force India had already dropped him before the verdict. No team wanted the liability. His 2012 season evaporated. 1 drunken moment with a champagne glass, and suddenly the guy was unemployable. He came back in 2013. Same team, now rebranded. Quietly served out 2 more seasons. No drama, no headlines, just a driver running out of chances. Sauber gave him a few races in 2014, then nothing. His career ended at 31, with a whimper. Sutil had talent, not world champion talent, but enough to stick around, enough to build something. Instead, people remember the glass, the scar, the court case. Some drivers wreck their careers on track. Sutil did it at a party. Franck Montagny got his F1 chance the way nobody wants it, because someone else got banned. Super Aguri. The seat opened up after Yuji Ide had his license revoked. Montagny stepped in as the replacement. 7 races to prove he belonged. He'd been waiting years for this. Test driver for Renault during their championship-winning seasons. Endless laps at empty circuits. Other people's cars. Finally, a race seat. Finally, his name on the grid. 2006. The Super Aguri was a disaster. Underfunded, underdeveloped, barely faster than the cars it was based on. Montagny qualified last or near last, finished outside the points every time, retired from half his races with mechanical failures, but he kept the car out of the walls, didn't hit anyone, didn't get his license revoked. Low bar, but after Ida, that counted for something. The season ended. Super Aguri didn't bring him back for 2007, chose Anthony Davidson instead. Montagny went to endurance racing, Le Mans, sports cars, a decent career, just not in F1. Then came 2015. Montagny was racing in Formula E when the FIA announced a doping violation. He tested positive for benzoylecgonine. That's a cocaine metabolite. The ban was 2 years. His Formula E career ended immediately. So did any remaining credibility. He admitted the use, said it happened during the off-season, said it didn't affect his racing. The FIA didn't care. Rules are rules. A guy who waited a decade for his F1 chance, got 7 races in a backmarker, and then got caught for cocaine in an electric racing series. That's the full arc. Some careers end with retirement announcements and farewell tours. Montagny's ended with a positive drug test and a 2-year ban, not the legacy anyone plans for. John Alesi spent 13 seasons in Formula 1. 1989 to 2001, Ferrari, Tyrrell, Benetton, Sauber, Prost, Jordan. The guy raced everywhere. 1 win, his entire career. 1 single victory. Canada, 1995. His 91st start. Took him that long. The talent was obvious. His debut season at Tyrrell, he nearly beat Ayrton Senna at Phoenix. Wheel to wheel with the greatest driver of that era. In a Tyrrell. The racing world took notice. Ferrari signed him for 1991. The dream move. The red car. Tifosi screaming his name. Then came the worst decision of his career. Williams wanted him for 1992. The team was building something special. Adrian Newey's cars. The FW14 was already rapid. The FW14B would dominate the following season. Alesi chose Ferrari instead. Loyalty. Romance. The prancing horse. Williams went on to win 5 Constructors' Championships in 6 years. Alesi spent that time wrestling uncompetitive Ferraris around circuits, wondering what might have been. His driving style didn't help. Spectacular? Absolutely. The guy threw cars at corners like they owed him money. Fans loved it. The overtakes were legendary. The commitment was total. But spectacular doesn't win championships. Consistency does. Alesi crashed when he should have cruised, pushed when he should have preserved, broke cars that needed to finish. His race engineer reportedly said managing him was like trying to control a firework. The emotions ran hot too. He argued with teams, fell out with Ferrari management, had public disputes with teammates. When things went wrong, and things always went wrong, Alesi let everyone know about it. Benetton signed him for 1996, the year after Schumacher left. The car should have been competitive. Alesi managed exactly 0 wins. His teammate Gerhard Berger got 3. Same car, different results. By the late 1990s, he was bouncing between backmarkers. Sauber, Prost, Jordan. Each move a step further from relevance. The fire was still there. The results weren't. He retired in 2001. 201 starts, 241 points. 1 win. Nobody questions the raw ability. The problem was everything else. The decisions, the emotions, the romantic attachment to a team that couldn't deliver. Alesi had world champion talent and a journeyman's trophy cabinet. The gap between those two things defines his entire legacy. Some drivers underachieve because they lack speed. Alesi underachieved because he lacked judgment. The passion that made him exciting to watch is the same thing that stopped him from ever becoming great. So who do you think has the worst reputation in Formula 1? I'm still not sure myself, but check out this next video, which is F1's most loved heroes versus most hated villains on More Than Speed.